han sido 50.
President, colleagues, we've had 50 very interesting contributions to this debate. Obviously, I can't answer, even if I had all the time in the world, every single question individually. However, I'd like to thank you for the comments that you've made, and with your permission, I will just try to draw some conclusions from your contributions to the debate this evening. Now, this was a summit which we did not expect to lead to major agreements. Nobody did. The proof of that was that there wasn't actually ever even any attempt to draft in advance or at the time a communique post-summit. So that was never the expectation. Having said that, notwithstanding all that and all the other critical comments which have been made this evening, I do feel that the summit was useful. I feel that for a number of reasons, partly because it enabled the European Union to convey some very clear and resolute messages to the Chinese delegation. We made it clear what we were wanting, what we rejected, what we would continue to reject, and I think it was possible for us to make it quite clear that we were a major player in the Ukrainian crisis, and that was how we viewed ourselves and how others viewed ourselves as well. We went to this summit with the intention of working on a bilateral basis and a clear focus on it and a determination not to be distracted from our objectives. The European Union made it absolutely clear that this bilateral relationship with China had to see a number of issues resolved before we could formalise the investment treaty. And that continues to be our position. A number of calculations went into that and a number of assessments. My position is this. It is that for us Europeans, the economic interests in dealing with China are considerable because it's a major market, and we don't want to prejudice economic relationships where we don't need to. But I think that the calculation that was made by China, and indeed it has been made by others, it was incorrect. The vision of a great power which believes in its power by the very nature of things and believes that its position is that of defending the general interest is one thing. That is a classical calculation which many great powers can make. And China obviously has the historical legacy of being a great power. It therefore does have a particular approach and makes particular calculations. We made it quite clear that the war with Ukraine is not a return to another Cold War, and that China must respect frontiers and borders very precisely and very clearly. And there must be no violation of sovereignty and certainly no violation of any borders in Ukraine, either explicitly or implicitly by any party. This is a security issue, and it would be absolutely unthinkable for this conflict not to have a major impact on our relationship with the rest of the world. This includes China. This we made very, very clear, and we expect, as we made clear, that we will see China respecting the sanctions that have been imposed, that they will not seek to get around them, and we made this quite clear to the Prime Minister. We also made it quite clear that we did not expect China to give any military support or assistance to Russia, and we expect it to comply with this. We also made it quite clear that any sort of assistance should not be forthcoming. But this is a major crisis, and in the end of the day, the approach that China espouses is to ensure that the global crisis does not come to a conclusion that benefits America. Therefore, this summit was useful because we exchanged our views, we identified respective positions, and I think we came to some understanding on a mutual basis that we had red lines. For example, China does have a red line, which is use of mass weapons of destruction. And this was made very, very clear in our conversations prior to the summit. And the minister made it clear during the publication of the post-summit statements that there had been a clear position adopted by both Europe and China on this, and I think that this is absolutely critical. It's really important that we ensure that there is respect by China of the limits that are there, and this limit must not be transgressed. The United Nations has the intention of adopting a resolution, and I think that it would be important for us to try to work with China on this to ensure that we can get as much global support as possible. As far as we are concerned, we need to continue to work with China. It may be something we wish to do, it may be something we want to do, it's something we have to do, and we need to know what the parameters of our relationship are. This is becoming clearer to us. We do know that on food security, climate change, use of weapons of mass destruction, we have major issues on which we must agree. And we must extract from China some commitments to cooperate and to contribute indeed to trying to resolve the situation of conflict in which we are currently living. Thank you very much indeed, honourable members, for a very interesting discussion.
Much, High Commissioner, for your answers, and debate is closed on this topic. Nākamais darba kārtības jautājums ir Rui Devesa ziņojums par īstenošanu pilsonis.
The next item on the agenda is a report by Mr. Ruiz de Veza, implementation of citizenship education actions.
Gādina, ka var